Welcome guys, and welcome to another virtual acceleration video. My name's Elisha, and today we'll be going over another Blender byte, which is the array modifier. Now, I know, once again, Blender bytes, this is meant for newbies. So, don't be hating, or discredit me, or whatever. Anyways, now we might as well go over to the default array modifier tile. Now what we see here is that the block here, the default block, got a little bit longer, or at least that's what it appears to have done. What we see here is the count, so if we increase the count we'll get more length out of this. But if we move over the relative offset, which in almost like any other tile is X, Y, and 0, not 0, but the Z row, column, whatever. If we increase this by that little bit, you'll see that this is actually the spacing between them, relative to the entire length of the object. Well, not the entire length of the object, but the distance between the two objects. So if we were to make this scaled out on the X, we'd see that the spaces between the two get farther apart. However, I'm going to turn this back to 1. If we move it up by 1 here, we see that we've created this. Now, pretty much it adds together like any other vector. This has gone 1 over and 1 up. It'll also do negative values or any other values that you want to do. Just a little bit of trig can get you just about anywhere. However, where the application comes in for this is when there is repetition. If you're building something that has the same geometry over and over again vertically, all you have to do is build that little piece of geometry once. So in this situation, I'd say that if I were creating stairs, all I need to do is repeat this piece of geometry once. And I'll just scale this on the y-axis. Now we got a flight of stairs that can literally go on forever when we increase the count. That does look like a stairway to heaven. Now, in a more practical application, other than stairs, whatever, stairs. What I'm going to do now is add in a cube. If I could just get this open. Cube. Use the numpad period to snap two objects. That's a pretty nice thing to know. I'm just going to scale this out along the x-axis to make it a little bit longer. And that looks about like what I was trying to do. I'm just going to make it a little bit thinner along here, along the y-axis. And what I'm going to do next is add in another cube. Now I'm going to go into edit mode. This is important because I'm going to be moving this over some, and I want to keep the origin in the exact same spot. If you remember from the mirror modifier quick tutorial, if you are going to be mirroring something, which I will be, doing that will make sure that it stays mirrored across that orange dot right there. We see now that it's gone through on both. If I go back in edit mode and scale this up some, I can make this. Now I might be saying, okay, what is this supposed to do? I'm actually going to use this double rectangular prism to cut into this one using the Boolean tool. I know this isn't a Boolean tool tutorial, however, might as well get through it pretty quick here. You choose the object that you want to cut into, go into the add modifier, Boolean. From there, choose the operation difference. This is important because if it was, well, we'll get into that one of these other Blender bytes. Choose the object that you want to cut with. At this point, you'll right click on the object that you're using as a cutter, and you'll see the name here, cube.001. Go back to here, and what do you know? It's on that list. Now with it on there, sometimes with larger Boolean operations, it'll start to crash out. However, I'm just going to click apply. And when I delete these double cubes, you'll see that we have a cinder block. Now from here, I'm going to slide it away from the origin, get it snapped on like this, and now when we add the array a modifier, I'm going to put in the value 1.05. Now leave a little space between so that way you can tell, that there's multiple there. Put down 6 because 5. It's like a volume on TV. It's got to end in 5 or 0, or else you freak out a little bit. Next, I'm going to add in a second array modifier, which you see here is doubled the length of it and has kind of merged these two pieces together. I'm going to actually change this value to 0 and change this one to 1.05. And we get this. I'm going to make it alternate over a little bit just by choosing here. Tease it. Tease it. And that'll do. Now if we go into and make yet again another array and change this one to 0, 1.05, now we see that we can actually create a cinder block wall just by increasing that number. And it's a really quick and easy way to do really repetitive things, and you can make them stack together in a way that really streamlines the process. What I'm going to actually do is apply all of these. I'm going to move origin to geometry and make it go to the center here. From there I'm going to open up the end panel and change the x coordinate to 0. This is going to center it up. I'm going to move it back some. And then I'm going to change the origin yet again, except this time I'm going to press Shift C. This will move the cursor, which is this little crosshair that almost nobody knows what it does, to the very center, 0, 0, 0. And I'm going to choose origin to 3D cursor. This is going to be important because the next step is adding in through this little panel up here, empty. It doesn't matter which one you choose, plain axis, because it's the first one, whatevs. And now I'm going to go in, and instead of doing, I'm going to do yet another array, except this time I won't be using relative offset, I'll be using object offset, and I'll choose the empty. We notice that we get this little one back here. That's simply due to the fact that we haven't applied the scale of here. Now when you're using the array modifier, when you scale up the empty or scale it down, it does things like that. However, we want to keep it at 0 scale. Well, 1 scale for this one. See? Ta-da! 1, 1, 1. This one, however, is a little bit skewed, and that's why we're seeing a weird tile back here. It's not the same. How do we change that? We go to Control A, and we apply scale. Where did it go? It actually is laying on top of this now, due to the origin being at the center, and the empty being at the center. However, I'm going to choose the empty, R, Z, 90, and now we've done this. I'm actually going to slide this a little bit. I'm going to go in edit mode and slide it back along the y-axis. And you're seeing here that we can actually get these to lay on top of each other, like almost like Lincoln Logs, but it's not. And when we increase the number, it has shifted over once again 90 degrees. And with 4, we've created 4 walls. This is actually a pretty practical application. It's a lot like the Blender Guru's tutorial for buildings. However, it's a very easy way to apply the array modifier. Once again, thank you guys for listening. Subscribe if you like this. I'm going to be putting up way more videos way more often as soon as I get a little bit better equipment. So always go to Virtual Acceleration if you'd like to have a forum style way of connecting with other people who are learning how to use these things. I post in here from time to time. We talk about tech, graphic design, anything. We're all just trying to work up and get our talents refined in a amateur-esque kind of environment. Well, thank you guys very much for watching, and I hope to see you guys again.